So let me tell you a story about context, persuasion, and how it applies to just about everything in your business. So it was January 12th, 2007. A man was just outside a subway station in Washington, D.C., and he started to play the violin. He wore a baseball hat, and over the course of 45 minutes, he played 6 pieces, including 2 by Bach and 1 by Schubert. Because it was rush hour, it was super crowded, and there were people everywhere. In fact, 1,097 people poured through the station, most of them on their way to work. According to video footage, 3 minutes went by before anyone noticed anything at all whatsoever. And then a middle-aged man turned to notice the musician, and he barely altered his walk and went and hurried to catch the train. But that was the only time that anybody noticed him. So 30 seconds later, the violinist received his first tip. A woman threw a dollar bill into his open violin case. She did it really quickly, like someone flicking a cigarette butt out on the curb. So a few minutes later, a man named John David Mortensen leaned against the wall to listen to him. 3 minutes later, a man looked at his watch and started to walk again. He too had a train to catch. He had to get to work. So the one who seemed to pay the most attention was a 3-year-old boy. He was in tow at the hem of his mother's skirt, hurriedly being dragged along. The kid's head followed the violinist, even though he was being pulled away. So several other children had the same reaction. All their parents, without exception, forced them to move on. Now, in the 45 minutes the musician played, only 7 people stopped and stayed for any length of time. About 20 gave him money, but continued to walk at their normal pace, so they didn't stop or slow down or anything. So he ended up collecting $32.17, and not a single person applauded. Now, the only one person out of the 1,097 that passed through the arcade recognized the man. She patiently waited for him to finish, and went up to say hello to Joshua Bell, one of the most celebrated musicians in the entire world, who had agreed to take part in an unusual social experiment. He had just played one of the most intricate pieces ever written for a violin, and the violin he was playing was worth $3.5 million. Now, 3 days earlier, Bell sold out a theater in Boston playing this exact same repertoire. The average ticket price for that performance was $112. So why am I telling you this story? Well, there's a lot to be drawn from this, but it's not just a lesson to appreciate the beauty that's around us every day. It's also a lesson that context is everything, and persuasion can't be assumed or taken for granted. So I just love this story. It's I'm a former musician, so I like this makes a lot of sense. It's like you spend a lot of time learning how to perform a skill, and then when you give it away for free, it becomes worth less. So context.